obviously the CM Punk situation from last September. You've been around wrestling for 30 years, 35 years. You've seen everything. What did you make of that situation? Because it was so strange to see it all play out.
I thought it was an angle at first because, Punk, he always says what he feels, but overall, he's a pretty classy guy. He says what he says he's going to do. I think Punk's a really good guy. I just think that sometimes, he needs a filter. Yeah, he just needs a filter because he gets in trouble. And if you go back, what the WWE let him do, and when I say let him do, cut those promos on Vince, Stephanie, Triple H. Like, you don't get to do that unless they okay it. You might do it once, but you're gone. But that wasn't the case. They let him do that. And, overall, I like Punk. I like him in the ring. I think he's got, everybody has their fans that really love them. His are very passionate. I don't think, because I know the ratings, and it's hard getting ratings on TV today. Like, it's hard. And for Punk, he moved the needle, but it wasn't that much. And from what I understand, he made a lot of money. And I'll tell you what, as a businessman, he's as good as it gets. Because, when you can be gone from wrestling, I think he was gone for 7 years, and then be able to come back and make stupid money. Like, there's a handful of guys that have ever been able to do that. Because you're off TV for a couple of years, your price just dropped. But there's a few guys who have the ability and the business sense, and Punk's absolutely one of them. I think if he could go back in time, and I could be wrong about this, but I think he could have said a lot of the things he said a little bit more political. I thought it was, wow, is he really saying this with Tony right there? I'll tell you what, if it was Vince McMahon, and they okayed a lot of stuff they said where they pretty much, buried them. But when it got to what he said, I don't think he'd have been on that air too long. He just might have went cut, because he wasn't saying anything was going to help something. You know what I mean? Like, if he was saying something that his I don't know how to put it, but if he was saying something that was going to be productive, it was going to help change the thing, he just could have said it different, but he was pretty wound up at that point, I guess. And again, Punk has been able to say whatever he wants and pretty much get away with it. But I guess I ain't seen him on TV since that day. So I guess even he, can't say everything he wants to say, But I'll tell you what, if he went back to WWE, I think he'd be white hot again. I think he'd be so hot again, and it could be as a babyface or a heel. And, he's one of those guys. He's got it. And whatever it is, it has stayed with him for a long time. And even though he's gotten older, his matches, are still pretty good, along with that level of the guys who put on those elite matches. So I thought it was, the word I used in the beginning was interesting.
Supposedly, I squashed his push and all of this stuff. And if anybody who knows me, like, even if I didn't like somebody, which I don't dislike, I don't dislike Punk. I don't, that's another rumor that I've got, I have this disdain for him. I don't. He was good with me, and that's all that matters. And business is business. Whatever's best for business. That's one thing I did learn from Vince. Business is business. Whatever's best for business is what you do.